Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dan. Happy birthday to you. Hooray!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pro Wrestling World Talks with Dan and Mac.
Here we are on the verge of another WWE PLE. Christ's sake, I feel like we were just doing this not even like 2 days ago. It actually was 2 weeks ago that we were just reviewing. Actually, it was last week we were reviewing Backlash. But now we have another PLE just 2 weeks after that. And it will be, well, actually, it wasn't Backlash. It was Saturday night's main event, which technically, some probably would say, it's not considered a PLE. It's considered a simulcast with NBC and Peacock.
Well, whatever. I mean, we also did Double or Nothing. We also did NXT Battleground.
Yes.
And
which was another NXT show this weekend as well.
Exactly.
Jesus. Like, it is... you're listening to PWW Talks. I am your host, Daniel Burke. I am ever so joined by my co-host, Mac, and my best friend for over 20 years. Thanks again for coming onto the program, my friend.
Cornbread, damn it, cornbread.
Yes,
Cornbread.
exactly.
Cornbread. I mean, listen, we're going from, a long weekend 2 weeks ago, which was also a long weekend of wrestling. Skip a week, and then here we are again with a doubleheader of wrestling shows.
Yes, and then what was the monotony that broke up the wrestling of the past 3 weeks was my birthday last week, as Mac decided to play a little video.
I'm afraid of your fiance. I don't.
You're afraid?
Yes, I'm terrified.
Aren't we all?
Aren't we all? Aren't we all?
Aren't we all? I mean, not saying that negatively, honey. So don't take that negatively at all. Good Lord. It's the last thing I need is myself to get buried even more. Sometimes you just, you just say things in your relationship that you're like, you just shouldn't say. You're thinking it, you're like, all of a sudden it's just like, and you're just like, oh my God, how did I bury myself again? Well, you did. You've got to find yourself a way to get out of this one.
I mean, what the fuck is that?
And actually, I feel like that's been WWE's booking for at least the last 4 months.
Oh, good segue.
Yeah. Right? They don't make me the host, pay me the big bucks for nothing. Oh, yeah. Dynamite and Collision were combined last night, by the way. Guess we record on a Thursday, as everybody knows. And so it was 4 hours, and it was advertised as 4 hours of AEW television, and then they had an overrun.
Of course they did. Of course they did.
What?
A 4 hour show. 4 hour show with an overrun on a random Wednesday.
Yes. And it's just...
They should have just taped it. I'm not going to lie.
Yes.
They should have just taped Collision and aired it a different night.
For the best.
Well, I mean, that too. Listen, I know they're up against the playoffs. It's tough. But maybe you go earlier. Maybe you switch it to a Friday night and, run the gambit against WWE. But at the end of the day, I don't want to watch a 4.5 hour show on a Wednesday.
No, you don't. And it's... I will say this about Tony Khan, because actually he was going to get some positive from me this week, in the sense of that Tony, I saw, was telling other fellow sickos in the AEW community to stop gatekeeping. And we are welcoming in WWE fans with open arms, which is exactly something he should have been telling these people 6 years ago. But now... he's realizing that he needs more of a mainstream following than just the 600,000 to 700,000 people that tune in every week And of course, somebody's, well, he doesn't include the max numbers. All right, whatever. All I'm saying is that on basic cable with TNT, or they're on TBS, excuse me, with TBS, they are drawing between 600 and 700,000 people. So they want to improve that. And I think doing that last night, because I saw the numbers, and literally it felt like Dynamite did over 600,000, and then the crater began when it hit the 10 o'clock hour to go with. But the funny part is they had an overrun from Dynamite to Collision. They had an override. So it's just like, wait a minute. Why are you having an override from one show into another show?
Well, I mean, it's a
and then
combined
you have an
show.
overrun after 4 hours. What are you doing here?
Yeah, that's dumb. I mean, listen, if they're doing it as two separate shows, then that's dumb. I didn't know that. I just thought it was, like a special night, whatever the hell it was called.
Fighter Fest, yes.
Yeah, like stupid, whatever. But I just thought that was the case. I didn't know it was basically two separate shows that basically ran over combined. Like that's dumb. If that's the scenario, that's dumb.
That was the scenario. That was the way that it was advertised. Even Meltzer was talking about it, saying, look, there's an overrun. It's like, are you kidding me? How is there an overrun? It's a 4-hour show.
That's just dumb.
But, I mean, and then they had the following with the Mercedes Moné. Mercedes and Moné and Tony Storm were taking turns eating steak. Because on commentary, they had Mercedes Moné go out for Tony Storm's match where she was eating steak, which I guess is the reference that she made in that podcast interview a few years ago, that she wanted to be able to eat steak like Vince McMahon as far as her pay is concerned, which she is the highest paid female talent in professional wrestling today. Vastly overpaid, but paid nonetheless. And that was the kind of aid. Oh, and then of course they set up Okada and Kenny Omega, winner take all for All In Texas, which again, people have to lower their expectations because the last time that these two fought was 7 years ago.
I was going to say, long time.
7 years ago. Yes, the matches were great in 2017, 2018, but it's not 2017 Okada. It's not 2017 Omega. It's not 2018 Omega. It's not 2018 Okada. I don't even know if it's 2021 Omega right now. I'm hoping that we're gonna get to that point because he's coming back still from the injuries, which I think finally we are dealing with a healthy Kenny Omega, which is all in all good for the wrestling business. And there's still also that outside chance that he'll end up going elsewhere when his contract is up after, of course, the added injury time and that type of stuff.
My only concern with Kenny is he's not getting younger.
No, but I feel like, too, that this is probably the healthiest he's been.
Oh, I mean, obviously.
Even when he was the belt collector, he still was dealing with quite a bit of injuries back then.
Yes.
And of course, probably the diverticulitis was kind of lingering inside, but he really wasn't untreated with it. So he probably really hasn't felt well in years. And now all of a sudden that's been taken care of. So he probably feels a hell of a lot better. And hopefully that the match will live up to the lofty expectations of people. But at least I just want it to be maybe 75 to 80% of what it was. Yeah, because this is a longer gap between Flair and Steamboat in 89 and 94. Like that was a 5-year gap. This is 7 to 8 years later. Again, people are trying to come up with these lofty expectations. And don't get me wrong, I think All In Texas is really going to be a great show with a lot of the A lot of the matches that are being set up, a lot of the matches that have already been advertised, I think are going to be great. My only concern is that you don't have certain people win to ruin the show for everybody. And what I mean is that Tony Storm needs to walk out with the title, and so does Hangman Adam Page. If you want to give it to Okada, I don't think anybody's going to flip. If you want to give it to Kenny, I don't think anybody's going to flip. But also, it's a ton of matches where it's almost, I mean, two of the matches, it's almost like they're merging the titles, kind of. Because it's going to be title for Mercedes and Tony Storm. And then Okada and Kenny, it's also going to be title for title. So you wonder what the kind of long-term implications are going to be. Are they going to start consolidating championships? Figuring that way, maybe we got to go a different direction. And listen to people and just be like, we can't have 25 titles for everybody. It's just not going to work. So you consolidate some championships. Because you look at the TBS championship, and I think to myself, you kind of don't need it now. Especially, too, if you're going to start a women's tag team division, which you got some good women tag teams. You seem to have a lot of women teams now that are battling it out. Megan Bain and Penelope Ford have kind of gotten together. Then you have Tay Conti just returning as she was helping out, I believe, Anna Jay, because Harley Cameron's out with an injury. So you wonder if they're going to just get rid of one single championship to make a women's tag team, which is all in all. The major story of the week, and the one that I think we were going to lead off with, even coming in, was the shocking news on Sunday, which I looked at the date and I thought to myself, R-Truth is pulling an April Fool's joke on June 1st. That's the only
That's exactly what I said when we talked about
I
it.
could come up with. Because you were here,
Yeah.
and we were both kind of just like, there's no way. And I'm like, I needed like double and triple confirmation on this before I could say anything.
Exactly. I felt the exact same way.
Unfortunately, the news came in that R-Truth was indeed released by WWE, or some are calling it now the TKO subsidiary. And
So just to clarify, right? Him and the other person that we found out was also released, so to speak,
correct.
around the same time frame. They're not actively released. They are just not renewing their contracts.
Yes. The way that I look at this, and I know that and R-Truth is a beloved figure. He is an absolute beloved figure in the industry, not only just by the fans, but also by the locker room and the powers that be. Mark Henry was talking about it this week, that if Vince McMahon was still in charge, that this wouldn't have happened. He probably is right. There's a lot of people, I'm sure, that Vince McMahon, it's kind of like George Steinbrenner. I almost compare it to that, except Steinbrenner didn't, I don't think was as dastardly as Vince still in the end.
Oh,
but
man.
George Steinbrenner kept a lot of people on the payroll for years.
It's true.
Billy Martin, the amount of times that he was fired, he was still paid by George Steinbrenner. And that's kind of the way Vince was on certain things. There were certain guys, everybody's just like, why does Gerald Briscoe have a job for life? Well, it's because him and his brother sold Georgia Championship Wrestling to Vince. So it's just pretty much, which allowed him to kind of create a little bit of a monopoly. That got him the time slot on TBS. So there were a lot of implications that came with the Jack and Jerry Briscoe selling Georgia Championship Wrestling to Vince in 1984. And he kept those guys in the payroll for years. The problem is that when you get into a corporate structure, when you go public, you now are monitored, scrutinized by board members, shareholders. Why are we paying this guy if we're only using him for this and that and all that stuff?
So, the one thing I did read this week is apparently he was in the cost risk assessment, I think last year, and obviously at that point they're already doing releases, so they're not going to release him then. They figure that, okay, let's just, not renew him, essentially is what would happen. But you're right, like these guys are now in a certain business that is looking at profits. And, I think it's unfortunate, right? It really is. And I think that at least with Truth, he'll be on probably a Legends deal within 5 years. That's what I would say. Whether he comes back full time or not, kind of doubting it at this point.
He's going to AEW. I've made that.
I don't know.
I think he's going to go to AEW. I think they're going to do something with him and Dustin for a bit to kind of put that together, because they did do some entertaining stuff at one time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that he would be a very good veteran presence in that locker room that people, I think, would listen to and kind of get along with, because the thing about it is with Ron Killings, also known as the formerly known as Artist R-Truth, this is a guy who's a former NWA champion. He has incredible credentials other than, he did get the 24/7 championship over. Yes, he is a beloved figure kind of for being almost like this comedy act, like, somebody's uncle, that type of deal. Like this crazy uncle type personality. But we're talking about a guy that was a former NWA champion in the early days of TNA wrestling, and a man that paid his dues and was able the last 15 plus years to be in a high position, highly paid, never really got booked terribly, I thought. I never thought, they always knew with him, it was just like, we can do the comedy angle for it and he'll kill it, he'll knock it out of the park. And he did every single time. That famous stuff that he did with Brock Lesnar chose him to be in that spot because Truth always made Brock laugh. And he just said, so he did that whole thing with him. And it was so memorable, and you just see Brock, who's this big menacing, like, stone face, I'm going to kill you, laughing hysterically at everything that R-Truth was doing. He's been able to have a truckload of memorable moments and hasn't really had to kill himself in the ring. He has been a performer for that company and has been able to not really have a match consistently, but be able to be this character and get it over and get everything that he was handed over.
Well, I think that's why the crowd reacted this way on Raw.
I understand why people are mad. I get all that. But I guarantee you, R-Truth, especially the way that he kind of was treated towards the end. They gave him a matchup against John Cena. Yeah, it was quick, but at the same time, it was able to complete that story. Yes, they offered him less money. Still offered him a deal. I'm sure that it was disappointing And also, I'm sure that people are sitting there and they're like, well, you're talking about a company that they charge so much money for WrestleMania tickets. They charge so much money for SummerSlam tickets for ringside, $40,000. That's true. They do. Triple H looked at it in the simple terms this week of releasing R-Truth and Carlito of, I hate to do this, but I want to be able to keep an up-and-comer or a guy that I know still has juice left in the tank. Because, yeah, he could have cut a guy like Tommaso Ciampa or Johnny Gargano. He could have cut a Ridge Holland. God, I don't know why he's still high with the company. I'm still trying to figure that out.
I mean, listen, there's a lot of talent.
But
We'll just say it that way.
There's a lot of talent that it's like they could have cut this guy over him. Yeah, I get that. But I'm also reminded of the fact that R-Truth is the ripe age
52, isn't he?
of 53 years old.
That's close.
And I get it. I get it completely. You are a beloved figure in the locker room, but they don't, it's not.
Listen, hold on. Let's say it this way, right? We have to be like pundits about it. Does it, as a fan, does it suck? Yes.
Yes.
But at the same token, in a month, we'll say, right? We just throw an arbitrary date out there a month from now. What would they really be doing with R-Truth?
That is another question I think that people need to kind of realize.
That's the thing. And listen, to the same extent of that question, what would they be doing a month from now with Carlito? And
yes,
we haven't really touched on Carlito too much during this conversation, but what they did since he came back kind of sucked.
It did.
He from LWO to being an enemy of LWO to just randomly joining the Judgment Day. And it's like he's this like floater. And to bring a guy back after such a sensational return after so many years at Backlash 2-3 years ago at this point, what are you doing?
I don't know. I don't know what they, because he was kind of like an R-Truth kind of figure, the way that
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Trying to make him the comedy relief, and it worked. There were a lot of things that he did that absolutely worked, that were fantastic. But he never really, I think, there was always a stop and go push. It was like, oh, we might do something with him, and then the next week they don't do anything. It's like, and Carlito gets it. I know he gets it, but at the same time, he's probably frustrated by it because it's just like, hey, yeah, I got paid all this money, but yet at the same time, it's like, we should have known too. I remember the night before that he announced that he was going to be not renewing his contract when he won a championship in Puerto Rico. It's like, oh, did he clear this with them? Like, did he clear this with them? Is the big question. Yes? Yes, honey? What?
No.
Intermission, everybody. Intermission. Carlito was pissing in the wind. That's the perfect example I could come up with all of this. I hate to steal that line, but it's a perfect one that my co-host just said during the break. I was just like, huh? I'm going to steal it.
Tell me I'm wrong, though.
You're not wrong.
You're not wrong. Like I said, he comes back at Backlash from Puerto Rico. He has a few matches here and there. Doesn't really amount to anything. He's, feuding with, I think, Legado. He joins LWO, betrays LWO, and then, as you mentioned, kind of ends up in this R-Truth phase of joining the Judgment Day, but actually joins it.
He provided the PS5. I mean, so that's...
Well, I mean, Liv provided the PS5. He just used it the most.
He also took it. You saw it Monday. It's like
He should have.
That wasn't yours.
Parting gift. He should have. Hey.
Well, he should have, because really, I think he probably logged the most time.
Between him and
they're
Dom,
probably
yeah.
like, oh yeah. I mean, hey, there's a lot worse things you could do
To show up to television every
to
so
show up
often,
to TV and do
get
that.
paid and play PS5?
No. Yeah,
Sign me up, man.
Exactly. It's the way that I'd be looking at these contracts now is, so what? You pay me how much, and you might use me on TV? Oh, okay, that's fine. And it sucks. It sucks if you're a fan of the talent. I get that part of it, which I'm a fan of R-Truth, and I also like Carlito too. So it's just, but at the same time, R-Truth had a hell of a run. He had a hell of a run. And I don't think he should look back on this time as a disappointment.
Oh, I absolutely do not think he will at all. I think he will be happy.
I think he's going to get a Hall of Fame induction down the line. He'll get a Legends deal down the line as well.
Yep, absolutely.
And he'll be fine with that. I don't think he's mad about anything. I think he's
like, that sucks.
He thinks it sucks, but he's just like,
But no, I think that's where it stops, is what I'm saying. I think he's like, all right, well, that sucks.
Yeah.
And that's it. I don't think he has any animosity about it. I think at some point he knows that he could call and make another deal down the road, or call TNA, call AEW if he wants to do that route, and he'll be fine.
I think
Carlito too, not for nothing.
it's the same thing with Carlito. But I think Carlito is probably going to be like, I'm just going to stay around the Caribbean, Puerto Rico, do that, which,
who knows?
Dad was a god in that country, so I get that part of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Unless you're Bruiser Brody. But the facts that, call it like I see it, folks. In the end, yes, it sucks. But at the same time, when you have an industry that is pretty much based on youth getting the new generation over, you're not going to use a 53-year-old on television all the time. And Carlito at least also has some highlights at the end of his run too. He had some memorable moments, the pop and the Bad Bunny match. Let's not forget about the comedy moments that he had with Dom, and with the Judgment Day, moments that he had with Damian Priest. It's not that hard. Starts pointing. It's the little nuances and things that he was just right to just hit at the right possible minute. The spears he had from that he was on the receiving end from one Braun Breaker, especially that one that he came out looking like a missile.
Yeah, down the ramp.
Carlito with the tweet of the century being like, my funeral will be this day.
Yep.
Yeah, and so, yes, one long-term departure and a guy that's been kind of in and out. And again, I don't think they really had kind of a plan for him in the last couple of years, which Carlito could look at it as disappointing. R-Truth, not so much. R-Truth can look at it and say, yeah, I had a great run. Did I, maybe not the world championship runs that I wanted, but I was still able to get beloved by the entire company, not just the fan base, but also the locker room. And yeah, it's a blow to the locker room, but also I look at the way that the locker room is, and most of these guys have buses now. So it's like, well, how much time do you spend in the locker room? Maybe in catering, you guys are like,
I feel like it depends on the talent, but you're not wrong either. A lot of them are just, They might hang around catering. They might be there every so often, but like you
It's
said,
a very
the top tiers, they got the buses.
they're isolated.
Yeah.
You know, these talents now are more isolated, and a lot of it's by self-choosing. Don't get me wrong. A lot of them probably it's just like, and I get that part of it. I get it. I don't know how I'd be on the road for that company. I don't know if I'd want to talk to people. You know, if it was in a creative sense, I'd have to talk to people every day and listen to terrible ideas. So I don't know if I'd really want to sit there and talk to talent at the end of the night and being like, how's everything going? Well, I had to listen to some jerk off talk about how he wants to put you in some love triangle again.
I'm sure it's not.
You know?
I get that, but I'm sure it's more the end of the show is the end of the show and people want to pack up and get out of there.
Pretty much.
You know, before the show, there might be some of that though.
I'd be happy to think that I would probably if I was on the road for that company, that I'd probably be hanging out with Paul Heyman, smoking weed until God knows hours in the morning, trying to come up with like different ideas. And you know, it's just I've only working with Paul and like Bruce Pritchard would be fun. Michael Hayes would probably drive me nuts within 10 minutes. They're like,
safe bet.
yeah, I know
Safe
you're a
bet.
free bird, but still, like, and then, because I don't know, do I think in my own mind, and I hate to, because this is kind of a segue into everything, but because it's kind of, I'm looking at this pay-per-view, but I'll get to that. Because we had the comings, but we also had the goings, but we also had the comings this week in the sense of that Mariah May made her debut on Tuesday night on NXT, which was heavily speculated. And over the weekend,
I feel like
it was for at least about a month or two. It was speculated, but also really not confirmed until over the weekend. She was taken off AEW's active roster on the website, which seemed to mean that all signs were headed that she was going to WWE. The question is when. And she debuted on the June 3rd edition of NXT. And we don't know her name yet because it was kind of a similar debut to what Ricky Starks did before he came Ricky Sands.
Yep.
Where
I'm hearing that early sign is Mariah March. That's what I heard. I don't know if there's truth there, but that is what I heard.
Wow.
Let's just trade the months. That's all.
God damn it. Holy shit.
Listen, like I said, I don't know how true it is. I just read it somewhere. I have no idea, but that is something I read over the weekend. Some random website. Her name is going to be Mariah March.
That sounds like it just somebody ran into ChatGPT. What can we name her other than Mariah May? Mariah March. All right, fuck it. We'll go with that one. And that's
pretty much.
That's fucking lazy. Jesus. Like that is lazy. I feel like I hear cornets.
I hope it's wrong. I mean, listen, I hope it's wrong.
Lazy booking. And that's oh God. Oh. Why did you tell me that? You should have told me that.
Sorry.
I know, and you're doing your job, but still at the same time, I'm like, fuck.
I mean, it's a rumor. I thought it was hilarious because, again, it's one of those scenarios where you hope it's wrong because, like you said, it's just super duper lazy if it's the case.
I mean, let's hope. Let's hope to the gods of Shawn Michaels that doesn't take place. Oof,
I
wow.
agree. The one thing I'll say here is I thought it was very telling that she immediately challenged JC Jane.
Yeah, isn't that? It's like they're almost, which I kind of.
I'm just gonna say, can you say sacrificial lamb?
transitional champion, we could also say.
I mean that,
but
too,
yeah,
yeah.
also it almost sensed that this was probably going to be the direction they were going, considering that, they just lost two top talents, and Julia, who was pretty much champion for like half a second, and then Stephanie Vacura, who just randomly lost the championship to JC Jane.
On a
There really
random
wasn't anybody
NXT
else.
Tuesday, yep.
There really wasn't anybody else in that pipeline. They just lost Roxanne Perez. So who exactly are you going to get to take the title off of JC Jane that could, I get it. We're just going to bring her in and just shoehorn her right into the championship picture.
Listen, man, I don't know. I 100% understand what you're saying, but if that's the scenario, why do you do Jordynne Grace and Stephanie Vacura in NXT? Why not save that for WWE and a WWE PLE, I think I should say, and don't do it at NXT. Make everybody wait. Have her face somebody, right? Like, not JC Jane, but I don't know. There's Lola Vice, there's Zariah, there's whatever her name is, Sol Ruka. Like, you could make Sol Ruka a double champion like you just did with Stephanie Vacura. And then you have the homegrown talent, and I would rather watch Stephanie Vacura. I'm sorry. I keep getting them mixed up now. I would rather watch Lola Vice against Mariah May more than I would against JC Jane.
I agree.
Just throwing that out there.
And
if anybody's going to sit here and tell me that this is going to be, a burner or whatever, I'm sorry, it's not. Not compared to what I just said. It's just not.
Jane, it was almost like an achievement award of like, well, you haven't been fired yet. Gigi Dolan got fired. Mandy Rose got fired. So we'll make you champion. And pretty much they're bringing in one of the top 10 female talents on the planet, considering the fact of that she came off of probably the hottest angle that AEW has ever done for women. And now you have her. And now you're not going to fast track her, I don't think. It's not going to be a Stephanie Vacura situation or another situation where Jade Cargill just immediately gets brought up to the main roster pretty much. No, she's going to start and she's going to start in NXT. And we're going to build her up that way. You don't have to, but I understand. But they're also so loaded with female talent right now, which also proves too, because again, we're coming up in July, it's Evolution. So that's going to be a key thing where they're just trying to now get all these top tier female talent now.
Okay. So hold on a second.
To just showcase.
Real quick. So you just mentioned Evolution. I think that's the perfect segue to what I just said about doing Stephanie Vacura versus Jordynne Grace. You could have saved it for Evolution. That would have made it like 10 times better than probably what they'll do on the card. Let's be real.
I agree. We don't know what the card is going to look like for Evolution. We don't know who's going to be on it. I firmly believe, though, everybody that's going to be involved is going to be everybody that they even just called up.
Oh, yeah.
We also don't know if it's going to be an NXT, if NXT is going to be invited.
Right.
You don't know if AAA is going to be invited. Like, there's a lot of kind of scenarios and angles going into this. Two, this is only a few weeks out from one of their second, third, or it depends what you think. If you like SummerSlam more than the other ones, but this is their second, third, fourth, one of their big four shows that's happening just a week or two after this, which again is we have a fucking PLE this weekend and another NXT show. Like I said, I was talking about it group chat earlier with some of the people from PWW, which is funny too. When I told them we were posting the episode last week on our Facebook page, and they're just like, so I'm like, so we reviewed this, and they're just like, that sounds like a lot. I'm like, yeah, but what do you want? Like, we got to be fair. We can't just talk about a WWE show and Saturday night's main event NXT. We also have to give AEW their shine because they had a really, really good show. So I don't know how I feel about this show this weekend, however, because it's only 4 matches as of this point.
Well, we'll talk about that after, because we still have to talk about the first of the doubleheader, which is Worlds Collide.
Yes, Worlds Collide, which is another really kind of landmark show, so to speak, because this is the first kind of, I guess you could say, was this an acquisition at this point? Like, what are we talking about here? It's coming from the Kia Forum in Inglewood, which isn't really interesting place to have this show, because I think the Intuit Dome is going to be hosting the Money in the Bank show, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm actually
so they're going to be they're going from the one really historic location and then another one of the new stadium that just got built for the Clippers, which is supposed to be like one of the most advanced arenas on the planet, privately self-funded too by Steve Ballmer. If only he could build a basketball team just as good as he built this. No, we're just going to give Kawhi Leonard all this money, even though he's going to play like 30 games for us next year, and maybe he'll make the playoffs. I don't know.
Because I'm not booked.
They did luck out, though, in getting rid of Paul George. That's one thing I can say. Yeah, I'm glad you didn't spend the money on that. But, yes, this is also a rather 4-match show. It's not so funny as Chad Gable is going to have to play double duty. Or is he?
Well, Stephanie Vaqueros, too.
Yes. But also, it's just the funny part of, or is he having to play full double duty? It was weird. I'll get to that when we talk about Money in the Bank, of course. But like, it's weird how people were complaining about Chad Gable this week. That's all I'm gonna say.
I don't get it at all. But we'll talk about it later.
So let's go over this show, which I'm still kind of looking at the fact that the North American Championship is going to be defended in a matchup against, in a joint show with.
I mean, at this point, I'm not going to lie, nothing surprises me.
Yeah,
they own AAA, so I mean that's whatever. But I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, after the whole TNA thing with Trick and Joe Hendry a couple weeks ago, I don't know what's going to take to actually surprise me.
Yes, it's nothing is. The last couple months, let's just say, with the way that things have gone, I'm just like, oh, we have a working relationship with TNA Wrestling. Our world champion, their world champion is going to be at the Rumble. He's going to have a match at WrestleMania. And then, oh yeah, we just bought AAA. What? The fuck's going on? And it's just part of this conglomerate now that is TKO. It's just this massive. They want everything to do with combat sports possible. So they want to be just able to control everything they can. And this is another fixture of that. And it's going to be interesting to see how because it's going to be on YouTube and it's going to be on Peacock, apparently. This thing is going to be broadcasted.
I believe
so. They're trying to go a whole, like, they want everyone to see this because it's all the talent that they just acquired, and they want to make a go of this. actually, I can't see anything negative coming from this show, but at the same time, yes, I have the same trepidation that most do of how this AAA and WWE relationship / merger is going to work.
I mean, honestly, I think they should just keep it separate, but have it, where they're doing pay-per-views, have it on Peacock instead. But otherwise, keep it separate. That's what I would do.
There are rumors too that, and I don't know how true this is, but I do know there has been social media tweets. I don't know if you've seen them, of Triple H is telling talent. Again, I don't know how to
start learning Japanese. I heard the same thing. And I heard that one of them was Solo
Sikoa.
Yep.
So it's just, is that, I mean, how real is that? Because
I believe it, but I mean, Dan, they've been trying to tap into some of these, I don't want to say ignored, but underserved markets. And I've heard Japan is one of them that they want to really get back to.
The question is, would that be an acquisition, or would they start up their own brand?
I've heard Noah get thrown around a lot, Wrestling Noah. So I think it's going to be another acquisition. To what degree, though? If it's something like this, where they own a portion of majority stake in AAA, whether they do that with, Noah or another group, I mean, I could see it.
New Japan would be hilarious.
Yeah,
but I also think
absolutely would be hilarious. But I
also think New Japan. Well, you can't really say never on this stuff.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
And the fact is that you look at New Japan now. What are they? Exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, the thing is with New Japan is I feel like they have a really great library too.
They do. They have a tremendous library, which I think, and again, I think that they would want to kind of corner that market and be able to have control over some of the better talents, some of their best work. Like AJ Styles has got quite a bit of some of his best work over there. Plus, they would be able to have like a somewhat access to the TNA library now. So it's just like,
true.
Oh, let's put together like a 25 match thing of, because they're doing so much stuff now with YouTube. I mean, WWE's YouTube game has stepped up, especially now. It's like they gave WCW their own channel. They're putting full pay-per-views, full shows on the WWE Vault page, the WCW Vault YouTube page, because they're concerned that with their next media rights deal, that a lot of the back catalog will not be getting a carryover to one of those other platforms. And let's face it, they have such an extensive back catalog. And also, I think revenue-wise, they bring in like $13 million a year in revenue from YouTube. That was a number of like 4 or 5 years ago. So their revenue would go up immensely by doing this and having an entire library and history free to people now. You don't have to pay for it. The back catalog now goes, because they're doing like a WCW pay-per-view, like every week they're posting it. They're posting up full matches all the time. Episodes of Thunder and Monday Nitro, WCW Saturday Night. They are doing what they can to preserve their library, but also to kind of get it out to the masses. So you wonder now if they make another acquisition or another partnership. And New Japan matches, it's like, well, let's just put Okada stuff up. Tony's like sitting there, wait, what? But he doesn't, you don't own the intellectual property. They own the footage. So it's fine. Like, you wonder now as I'm watching, of course I put the WCW matches on playlist on, because why not? I need something in the background to kind of keep me focused and also generate my mind to kind of theoretically, so to speak, say, look, this is the lay of the land of them now, with where we might not be able to have our back catalog and get money for it, but we're going to just get revenue for it regardless.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if they're pulling in 14 million, that's well over $1 million a month just in YouTube ad revenue, if that number was accurate, which even if it's not, that's what the number would be. And they own the copyright anyway, so there's no issues with copyright infringement or anything like that. You know, like they're lock solid, and I mean a lot of that stuff that they're doing now, it's just extra money on the top.
It's just extra money on the top, and then at the same time, it gets, look, people want to watch a lot of the matches that they're putting up. It's not like they're just putting up random stuff that nobody's going to know. They're putting up stuff of stars that people remember, people that, like, they want to see this stuff. Maybe they don't want to watch the whole show, but it's just like, oh yeah, this match is on there. Shit, yeah, I'll watch it. Limited commercial interruption. They don't have to go through the Peacock app. It's right there for them. And that's the way I think they're going to probably conduct their business. So I wouldn't be surprised if they get New Japan, because New Japan is struggling so much. And the fact is I think they're going to pay more. Well, they might pay more. Or they might turn it into a bidding war and have Tony overpay. And I'm not going to make fun of Tony on that. It's just, even though with the Ring of Honor property, it's like, what are you doing? Ah!
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yep.
What are you doing with this? Please.
I just at this point he should just kill it. Honestly.
Sadly, so to speak, yes.
Keep it for the library, maybe do like a Ring of Honor anniversary show or something like that. But other than that,
you can honor the legacy without having to just outright. You don't need it.
That's the thing. Yeah.
You don't need it.
Honor the legacy. Maybe do like a Ring of Honor match. A night maybe. Like just something. But otherwise, what he's doing with it now is just dumb.
No, it doesn't make any sense. But hey, like, it's his money. It's his playground. He's going to play it the way he wants.
God forbid.
God forbid. So let's talk about this this historic show, Worlds Collide, when WWE meets AAA, the first joint venture, which will be taking place this weekend, from the historic Kia Forum, which is also known as the Great Western Forum, the home of the Showtime Lakers of the 1980s.
Oh, shit.
I figured you would have. You're just letting me die in the vine on that one.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, that's we can go there. Okay.
Hey, I'm just saying it's a historic venue.
It is, absolutely.
It's it's more historic than the Staples Center or whatever it's called now. What a terrible idea that was. Now, it was the Staples Center for years. Now it's something else. It's like this crypto, like, you would just keep the goddamn naming rights. Jesus.
What is it called now? Crypto.com Arena. Jeez. Get out of here.
Oh, did you hear the geniuses with the Red Sox Brain Trust, what they're trying to do now?
No.
So they want to build a offices on Lansdowne Street.
Where on Lansdowne? There's no room.
On top.
Oh,
They want to
come
block,
on.
so they want to block the Citgo side,
Jeez.
which would kill the landscape of the ballpark. Just destroy it.
Listen. I'm just gonna say this. I love the Boston Red Sox. They got to get the fuck out of Boston.
Ownership?
No, I want them to stay in the region, but I want them to move elsewhere out of Boston.
Wow.
The area sucks now. You know, they keep trying to do this stuff. They close like the entire street. Like, just it's not the same. We talked about this
90s
before.
Fenway.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
90s
We talked
Fenway
about
was the
this.
best.
90s into the 2000s, I loved Fenway Park. Anything after, I can't stand it.
The funny part is that when we loved it, they were terrible.
I know.
Or they were terrible. Or they barely made the playoffs and got their asses kicked all those times. But we loved going. The second they became successful, it was just like, I can't go now.
I'm going to say once Francona left for me, that was done.
Yeah, that
was
was
it
a
for
big
me.
part of it.
Francona gone, I was like, nope. I
felt like I was a lone wolf watching that 2018 World Series. No one was talking about it. 2013,
really were.
People were still talking about it.
2013,
people were still, but 2018, no one was. I felt like I was the only one watching that World Series. And I'm just like, they won 108 fucking games and no one's talking about them. Like, it's the only thing I could say about the Boston Red Sox of the last 22 years has been, at least we got 4, because in 20, we romanticize all that now. And we all are just like, man, we've been so lucky. And then you look at the Mets and look at that 1986 championship, like they won a dynasty when they only won 1. And they almost lost it.
I think that's going to be us in a few years. Not so much with the Celtics, but definitely with, like, if the Patriots start winning championships again, if the Bruins win at least another championship, I think people will be like that. I think it's tough.
Great hire today too. Yeah, they're going to be great.
Yeah, great. I just think with the Celtics, people are going to be like, no, we should win again. And they'll have that I don't know, that kind of attitude for a couple of years. But we're not talking about sports in Boston. We're talking about this show in LA.
No, I did want to close. This. Michael Felga said it best today, when we were talking about the Bruins coach hire, when he just said they are the Manchester Fisher Cats. This organization, all they do is hire coaches, and it's like a stepping stone for coaches, because everybody, Bruce Cassidy and Jim Montgomery especially, have gotten big contracts from other teams after being the scapegoated in the city of Boston. Even Claude Julien got a good contract when he went to Montreal. They found out he was a sham, but Bruce Cassidy won a cup immediately after being fired. Jim Montgomery gets fired in the middle of the season and takes the St. Louis Blues to the playoffs. So I ask you again, where does the problem lie with the Boston Bruins?
I knew it wasn't Montgomery. You don't go from 100 points to about 90 points to shit. That doesn't happen, especially when the core of your team is the same. I don't know what these coaches are doing, that they're losing the locker room in that kind of a way. Because the same thing happened to Bruce Cassidy, as you just mentioned. But you're right. It's not the coaching. It's just not.
And Brad Marchand, by the way, having a tremendous series tremendous playoffs for Florida. Good Lord.
Yeah, it makes you wonder. It really just makes you wonder.
It's like, where was this production?
That's the thing. Like, we've seen it at a Brand Marchand. We knew that he could do it. The fact that he's doing it still at a high level and
on a third line, nonetheless.
Yeah, on a third line. It's crazy. It's absolutely wild to me.
But yes, we need to get out of the sports realm, but I needed to give Felger his due because he was really laying some really good lines. He's just like Marco Strum. Yeah, he played for you, but now he's going to be your coach. Like, what'd you do? Is this really a search? It's almost like the Red Sox when they hired Craig Breslow. It's like, yeah, he played for you. It's exactly
it is
the same way I'm looking at this, and the way that Breslow has alienated certain people in that organization, including Rafael Devers. Sorry, I agreed with the Chad Bloom moves, but everybody wanted him gone because we were a 500 team. And what the hell has Breslow done? Same shit, different day.
Exactly.
Pile. So maybe it's not the management. Maybe it's not the upper management. Maybe it's the people in the box. I don't know. Might be. All right. Speaking of the people in the box, I could go on and on about how WWE's management is driving me up a wall lately. But we need to talk about this finally. We need to talk about this NXT Worlds Collide show with AAA, which will be emanating again from the Great Western Forum this weekend. So let's talk about these matches.
I gotcha. Like I said.
Yes, please.
I can pronounce Legado del Fantasma, which is Santos, Angel, and Berto versus El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. and Pagano and Psycho Clown. See, I told you I would nail that.
You did. Hell of a job. You did a hell of a job on that one. Yes, this was... So this is probably going to be kind of like your showcase of we're going to show you what these three talents can do, and they're going up against three people that, again, kind of is your Latin representation on your main roster. So it kind of bridges the gap, I guess, so to speak. And I'm rather excited to see kind of what. Because some of these trio matches, God, I can't believe I'm saying that, are really off the chain nuts in Mexico, Lucha Libre / AAA. So
that's probably why they're doing 2 6-man tag matches.
Exactly, because they just know they're just like, yep, let's get everybody out there, and this is probably going to be your opener because it's probably going to set the tone for everything.
You know what? I want to bring up the last match that's on this list next, actually, with LWO, Dragon Lee, Cruz del Toro, and Lince Dorado versus Octagon Jr., Aerial Star, and Mr. Iguana.
Yes.
I think that might open. Because Dragon Lee flies, dude.
He does.
And you set a real sharp tone having that start. I think Legado versus those three is 100% a solid opener as well. But I think it's if you have them go on like second or third after the LWO match, I think that might be better.
Yes.
But both are going to be solid matches, obviously.
They both are. I think that they're both going to be able to showcase exactly what AAA type of style matches are, because it's going to be insane. Like these guys are just going to be literally flying all over the place. We're just going to be like, where the hell is he going? What type of flip is that? Which that is also going to probably hurt, so to speak, especially the championship match, because you have somebody who I feel like is one of the better performers on the planet. And he'll be defending his championship. We'll get to that later on. But yeah, these two are, and then you have probably the one match on the card that I'm kind of like, okay. And then, of
That's
course,
the NXT North American
the
Championship.
fatal four-way
Yep.
for the NXT North American title. Ethan Page defends the championship against Javon Evans, Laredo Kid, and Ray Phoenix. And
Yeah, it's just
Ray
weird.
Phoenix, who was just at WrestleMania and is now challenging for a NXT mid-card championship. And then we have, Javon Evans being on the show is great because he's become one of my favorite guys especially when handling Ricochet. Excuse me. When he's been handling Ricochet on Twitter. So
he's such a troll magnet.
he opens himself up to it.
No, he absolutely does, but that's the thing. It's like as soon as somebody says something, he has to like jump on it. It's like, dude, go touch grass.
Exactly. It's like, do you know who you're married to? Go worry about that. I don't need this. All right.
Right.
Like just go worry about that.
Unreal.
No, but this that is the only match on this card. I'm just like, okay. All right.
I mean, listen, if we talk about the women's match next, Stephanie Vicaire and Lola Vice versus Chick Tormenta, and I'm assuming this is pronounced Delise.
Delise, yes.
Stephanie Vicaire and Lola
Delise.
Vice to me is a weird combination too.
No, but that's 2 10s.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So, like,
I'm not complaining about that part. It just
that's-
feels like a weird team.
Woo. I mean, yeah, but this is also like a dream card show, so it's just kind of like you can get away with kind of like these type of matches.
Sure, absolutely.
By the way, 3 matches on this card are tag matches, which for a WWE show is kind of like, even they're a part of it. It's kind of like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Because I can't remember they've had 3 tag matches on a show minus, the Survivor Series probably. But
Or WrestleMania where it's 2 nights.
yeah, exactly. But this is wow. Like 3 tag. I'm looking at this. I'm like, even the women's match is tag team. Wow.
Yeah.
And that leads us to the main event. Chad Gable will be challenging for the AAA Mega Championship against El Hijo del
Vikingo.
Vikingo. Damn it.
Should have just let me do it.
I know. I thought I was getting ahead of myself. I'm just like, I can get this one.
I could do it.
I can do it. Damn it. Yes.
El Hijo del Vikingo. I'm
Yes,
assuming that's how you
people
say it.
People understand now that my one weakness is grammar. So
Well, especially grammar in another language. I mean, come on.
yes, it's just I've never been good with Spanish. My brother would probably yell at me too because he'd be like, "Oh, you can get this," and it's just like, "Shut up, translator, you do it." Like,
There's definitely an AI program out there that could say that better than both of us. I'm sure. Yeah.
I'm sure. But some of them too, like there's words I pronounce differently than some of these AI people, and I find myself correcting them, and I'm just
That's true.
Because it's not perfect, but like when they talk about, because I hear it all the time, being from Central Massachusetts, Worcester area, people are just like, "Oh, where are you from? Worcester?" It's like, no, it's Worcester.
I feel like only people out of state say it that way.
Yes. There was one guy that I used to work with. He was actually the PD at the radio station I used to work with. He actually got his start working out of Leominster, Massachusetts, which is in the Fitchburg area and still central Massachusetts. So he was working Christmas. I think it was his first day on the job. And of course he's working Christmas. And he's just like, it's currently 31 degrees in Leominster. I'm like, oh boy. I'm like, well, you really guess you went up from here.
Yeah, there's nowhere to go but up from there.
Wow. Leominster. And I'm just like, woof. Yeah, but I was trying there and I did not, because I've said his name enough, I feel like.
What the fuck is that?
he might be familiar to most people because if you watch AEW, he has been featured heavily, especially too when AEW and AAA had their working arrangements. I think they were a part at one point of the. They were a part at one point, I think, of the Worlds Collide show. I forget which year, but it was one of the Worlds Collide shows where he was able to perform in front of the AEW audience. This was one of the guys too that I think that everybody thought that was kind of going to be a part of the future plans for AEW. But that is not happening now. It seems like he is in the future plans of not only AAA, but of WWE as well. So,
oh yeah, that dude's in the main roster pretty soon, I would say.
He is an exceptional talent. And absolutely. I feel like that their best course of action is to make sure that he's, if you want, because I feel like now, especially with UFC and WWE being kind of under the same umbrella, that you can do promo work with somebody that doesn't speak English, with translation, and some of the production that I've seen with, especially with UFC, you have a lot of fighters, especially from Brazil. You had Anderson Silva, who had a translator, or they had a narrator be a translator. You can get away with it now, especially too what they're doing with Chad Gable's character as well, with some of the translations and dubbing that they've been able to do with that. But not in a comedic level either. Make it, serious. But now you get to see one of the better talents on the planet going up against Chad Gable. And you wonder how the audience is going to react. I think that being in Los Angeles kind of gives him an edge, so to speak, going into this. And you wonder how fast it's going to be before there's already talk of him, this guy, we got to put him in the main roster. We got to have him as Intercontinental Champion or U.S. Champion. And people are already going to be thinking 3 years down the line, this guy's going to be World Champion one day. It's all possible. Because I look at this guy and I think to myself, El Hijo del Vikingo. Did I get it?
I mean, as far as I know, you did.
Yes. I feel like is going to be a main event talent sooner rather than later.
Oh, well,
this is going to be his launching pad.
Hold on. Semantics, just real quick. He's already a main event talent. It's just not on a main roster.
On the WWE's main roster. We're talking SmackDown or... Because, yes, this is going to be probably... This show is going to be main evented by him.
Yeah, no, I 100% believe that. But I also, he already is a main event talent. The thing that I would say here is I would say main roster within 2 years, world champion within 5. That's what I would say.
I think that's
if not sooner. If not,
I think that's a safe bet. Complete safe bet. And now we have reached the point of the main reason I think that everybody is excited for the weekend. Even though I feel like that the Worlds Collide show is just going to be another great show, which I don't think is going to have the high stakes that this show is perceived to be, because you are now looking at a point, especially with the people that are involved in the Money in the Bank matches. You wonder.
Both of them. I feel like there's high stakes for both.
There is extremely high stakes for both. You wonder if both were going to have a shocking kind of ending, or is it going to be the same, or is it going to be, we're going to give this to an established star and kind of waste it again, because they kind of did that last year with Drew McIntyre to sell that same story at the same night. That we did get a better payoff, but it wasn't,
I just, it's tough this year. I feel like it's tougher than last year.
I feel like also we think coming into this that the way that they've been doing things, we're just like, we don't exactly have high expectations for this. It's like we've seen what they have done. We've seen some of the decisions that they have made. And we're kind of just sitting here and being like, I am expecting the least amount of effort from this possible at this point.
I'm not.
And I hate to say that. I hate to be like that, but
I'm not for either of those two matches. I am for the other two matches. I'm not going to lie. But not for the Money in the Bank matches. I think for the Money in the Bank matches, there is a high degree of, what's the word I'm looking for? Possible disappointment.
Well, let's start with Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch for the Intercontinental Championship match for women's, which is technically a last chance match. If Becky loses, she can no longer challenge for the title as long as Valkyria is champion. If Valkyria loses, she will be forced to raise Lynch's hand and acknowledge Lynch as the better woman. So you wonder, this gives Becky Lynch to not challenge for the championship again, which also raises again Lyra's kind of meteoric rise, and especially to the way that they kind of have made her look, beating even Becky at the last pay-per-view. So you wonder if they're going to continue that trajectory, or if they're going to give Lynch the title finally, kind of maybe settle down with Lyra a little bit and kind of de-push her a little bit, but still kind of have her at the forefront. And now you're going to have Bayley and Becky facing each other at SummerSlam for stakes with the Intercontinental Championship.
Right.
But you don't need to have Becky and Bayley for the IC title either. So there's a lot of ways that you can do this that completely make sense. Because it really doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt Becky losing. Lyra, I don't even know if it hurts Lyra losing either, just because of the fact she already has a win over Becky the last time. So it's like Becky would just be getting her win back.
I mean, she could go back to bumming around Bayley anyways.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like it's not that big of a deal.
This is true. I feel like that.
And she's still young too, man. Like
she is.
I don't think it's gonna hurt her in the long run.
I don't think it is. And I think that I'd be surprised if Becky wins, but I also wouldn't be surprised if she loses. Like it's one of those deals. It's like maybe it's like I'm 50-50 on it. I really am.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't care. I'm not invested, like it just I think Becky's putting in the work. I think Lyra, as a more determined version of herself, is much better than she was. I just don't think it's going to hurt either one of them. I think there will be a negative reaction if Becky wins, truthfully. But I don't think it's going to be one where it's like anything unexpected. It's going to be the Becky Hogan stuff all over again.
Such an annoying... That's an annoying comparison.
It is, but I mean, she's put in that position for a reason. It's not all her. There might be some of it that might be a little bit her, but, ultimately the booking decision is Triple H's. And if he's going to book her to win, he's going to book her to win. And I think that's what a lot of people expect.
Simple. So, we go from an Intercontinental Championship match with major stakes because it's the last chance match, but also the title is on the line, and implications with, is Bayley going to run in? Who's going to be the winner? That's the question. I guess both of us are coming out of this and being like, I really don't know, but at the same time, it's not really a priority.
I just think it's going to be Becky. I think
Probably. I think you're right.
Becky wins. Lyra raises her hand, and then as soon as she does, Bayley's music is going to hit.
Yep, that seems to be, I think, that is in what I would call a safe bet. That's probably the more logical kind of scenario finish.
Listen, I think if it doesn't happen, I'll be surprised. I think that would surprise me more than anything if they don't do it that way. But hey, I mean, stranger things have happened.
They have. And now we go from the IC title to the current world champion, because I feel like that we should just wait.
Go backwards, yeah. I know.
Yes. And plus, I think the Money in the Bank matches at least kind of have a little bit more debate
100%.
into it.
100%.
And,
No worries.
and more or less like, So the question I have is, does Cody Rhodes pin John Cena in this match to set up the rematch?
Yes.
Does Travis Scott get involved?
Maybe.
Does The Rock get involved?
No.
Does Gunther get involved?
It's possible. I was thinking that the other day too. I don't know.
And I guess we could also bring up the Gunther factor, because listen, folks,
I would love Logan Paul to get destroyed by Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam.
Yes.
That's all I'll say.
I think the thing that, why is Logan Paul the number one contender at SummerSlam? Has that already been established?
No. But if you think about all the crazy run-ins that could or would happen in this match,
yes,
I would not be surprised to see a standoff between those two as they're both attacking Jey Uso on the outside.
that's true. I mean, that could be another logical explanation of something that happens. Of just like, all right, the two of them just lock eyes.
Well, plus Logan Paul, like I said, he's the gatekeeper of a world title. So
does John Cena lose this match? Is he the one that eats the pin?
considering it's Cody's first match back and also involves the World Heavyweight Champion Jey Uso, I feel like they have to win.
And then
if you're gonna have them stay the huge baby faces that they are, and obviously Jey needs kind of a win going into Monday, where he's going to defend his World Heavyweight Championship against Gunther,
and hopefully loses.
If that's the case, Jey Uso needs this win. So whether or not it's Cody Rhodes or Jey Uso taking the pin or giving the pin to John Cena or Logan Paul, I don't know, but I feel like it would make the most sense for it to be Cody and Cena.
100%. And I think we can go from this tag match now and talk about the events on Monday, because Jey Uso was involved in this. The fact is, folks, is that when he won the Royal Rumble, I was with it. I was saying, okay,
he was also massively over at the time.
He was. I can't deny that. The dust is cleared before WrestleMania. My opinion had changed. Gunther retaining, I felt like was the better call. I had a feeling, though, they were not going to go that way, but I was mortified with the decision to have him tap out. Mortified.
See, that's the thing. I was okay with Jey winning, but it was winning by tap out. That annoyed me.
So it's been 6 weeks. And they got to make a switch. They got to go back to it. He just doesn't have it. He just doesn't. He doesn't have the same energy. He doesn't have the same, he just doesn't have the aura that other guys on the roster do. And when you're the world champion, you got to have an aura. Jey Uso doesn't have it. At least world champion Jey Uso, I feel like, doesn't have it.
Here's the thing. And I need to say it this way for a reason, because I know there's going to be people that are going to think different things when you say that. We're not saying that like that's a bad thing. There are a lot of top guys that are never world champion or don't have the same longevity as world champion. And that's okay. You're still successful at a very high level. That's awesome. CM Punk has not been champion since he has come back.
Nope.
Drew McIntyre has not been champion in years, save 10 minutes at WrestleMania before he got cashed in on. Yeah, I know I'm being generous. All of that matters because, again, it's a scenario where they're successful, they're at a high level, and they're incredibly over. You didn't need Jay to win the title for him to be over. Go back a couple years ago when we had disagreements with another person on a different show that will not be named, where we're arguing that Seth Rollins is massively over and it's not just his theme song. This was before he was the inaugural, when it relaunched, World Heavyweight Champion. It was before that. You don't need the belt to be over. You don't need the belt to be successful. Jey Uso should not be disappointed where he is right now. I think it's great that he got a world championship run. It just hasn't impressed me personally.
It hasn't. It hasn't impressed me either. It's been kind of a drag. He hasn't been the focus of Raw. And he's supposed to be kind of the head guy when you're the world champion. They focus more on this trio that Paul Heyman's headed up with Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed. They've been more focused on Dominic Mysterio, Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez, and Judgment Day than they have Jey Uso.
I'm going to tell you why right now. Because he's solo. And I don't mean his brother Solo Sikoa. I mean He's alone. He has occasionally people that come in and kind of then go right back out. Mentioning Sami Zayn. Now we have Cody Rhodes. Before that, he has multiple people. That's what I was going to say, mostly his brother. He is great when he has a foil and somebody else to work with that is more so on his side than what we've seen from Gunther in the adversarial role of a heel. It just, there's nothing, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you're the world champion and you don't have any friends and you kind of need them because that's what you've known your entire career practically, you need to do something. And I'm not saying that they need to take the belt off him, but they need to give him support, basically. And not for nothing, look at Bronson Reed, look at Braun Breaker. Are they the best on the mic? No, not really. But now they're working with Paul fucking Heyman.
Exactly.
Fucking give Jey Uso a manager. I heard he's sweet on some of the NXT girls, so, there you go. Allegedly.
It's a married man now.
Allegedly. Yeah, well, he's married, but allegedly. Yeah. But, at the end of the day, right, it doesn't have to be any of them. I'm just throwing the joke out there. It could be another guy. It doesn't have to be Paul Heyman, obviously. It could be somebody else, whether it be somebody like R-Truth, you bring him back as a manager role. God forbid, like that'd be fucking funny. But that's what you need to do with Jey Uso. You need to pair him with people that can work with him and not just as a heel.
I just think that they need to be kind of correct things. They need to kind of correct things and get things back together and centrally focused. I mean, look, it's the same thing with the John Cena heel turn. You tried it, didn't work. Even though I feel like that you tried it and you got really lazy with it. And you got to put the belt back on Cody. I don't want to deal with any more of this bullshit. Hopefully SummerSlam is it, where it's like, okay, now he's just going to go off and do a couple more matches and he's going to get a send-off and blah, 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 and that's it. All right, cool. But he needs to be out of the title picture because it's just been a drag. This whole thing has been a fucking drag. The fact now that I got to watch this pay-per-view, or PLE, excuse me, this weekend, and I got to deal with this fucking guy again.
Yeah, I mean, it's two guys you hate in the match.
My niece called me up for my birthday. And it was an interesting phone call. But
yes, it was, because I was there, so I know. Yes, it was.
Erica, if you're listening, I love you, but calm down. Calm down. All right. But your uncle loves you. But so she calls me on my birthday. And she just goes, John Cena, why? Just why? And I just said, I've been asking the same thing for 3 months. Just 3 months. I've just been asking, just why? And I get it. We need to do this. We need to try this. And of course, they thought it was going to work. They thought it was going to work. The problem is that they've done it completely half-ass. They didn't change any of his merch. They didn't change his theme music. They didn't change anything about it. And maybe that's why when Cody made his return, within hours, 30 million people across all their platforms, or it was like 130, it was ridiculous, the numbers. It was like 130, it was just ridiculous
I'll
numbers.
look, but it was high.
It was high. It was really high, ridiculous numbers of him coming back. And because again, it's people clamoring.
Sorry, it was 35 in just 15 hours. So it's probably more now.
15 hours. So it's probably more now. But for him to come back, and it was massive on social media. So the question is, he's still over. He's still your number one babyface. You have to have him win at SummerSlam. It also proves to me how mind-bogglingly silly The Rock was into being like, we're going to turn Cody heel. Why? So clamoring for him as a babyface. You don't need to turn him heel yet.
Well, the thing is, too, if Cody went heel, you couldn't do a return like that either.
No, you couldn't.
And he would have had a win at WrestleMania as well.
He would have.
Which I don't think anybody would be disappointed about, just saying. But, you know, if you turn him heel, he has to win at Mania. He can't lose as a heel at that point.
And again, I feel like you sacrificed Cody for this.
There's no question
run,
there.
And it's just I'm uncomfortable with it. I don't like it, but I have to live with it. And that's all I've been doing this last year. Not last year, but these last few months. Living with it. just living with him being on top again. It's upsetting. I don't like it. Nobody likes it. Nobody likes this at all.
Feels like the Twilight Zone.
It
honestly.
really does. I feel like that maybe him off the champion, maybe him just away from the title, I'll feel better again about it. Maybe I'll come onto this program and try to be positive instead of I feel like it's just been, and it's just interesting how things work that way, because a year ago we were all just like positive and happy-go-lucky, and now it's just like we're sitting here and we're just like, ugh. And I want things to improve, which I think they will.
You know what's funny, Dan? It just popped in my head as you kind of said that. I look back a few years ago when CM Punk finally came back and he went back to AEW first.
Right.
And in the first couple of months, first couple of days that he was there, he said something to the effect of, I want to fight this new generation.
Right.
His first two big matches, outside of a tag team match, obviously, is him and Darby Allin and him and MJF.
Yes.
Cody Rhodes does not need John Cena. He just doesn't.
He doesn't.
There are a lot of other younger talent that do need John Cena.
There is. There's other guys on the roster, which I think is going to happen probably later on in the year.
I hope so.
Because I think that he's going to be able, guys like Braun Breaker, guys of that ilk, I think he'll be able to create stars and help them that way. Because
I don't think even Braun Breaker needs him, honestly.
Cody didn't need this. Cody doesn't need the win at
he doesn't.
SummerSlam, but he just needs it to get his win back and hopefully get back to, and hopefully he didn't sacrifice the lamb too much. But I don't know. Like I don't.
No, you know what they do, Dan, and I'm almost happy that Cena did this in the way of he's gonna kill wrestling, because now you can turn Cody Rhodes into a savior Cody Rhodes who saved wrestling.
Yes,
and that could be your story, and that could be the next chapter of that story. And it does, but it's also Cody needs a story. And it does. And as champion, he really didn't have one. As he's chasing, though, he does the chase so well, right? Because it's building up. This is my story. I might have my segues, but that's the goal. And now his goal can be, I'm going to save wrestling.
Because you want to know what Cody didn't have a good grip of heels to go after when he was champion.
No, I mean, they had to turn AJ Styles heel, for Christ's sake. Right.
And I think that you look at, I go back to Warrior, he had the same problem at 90. Where it was like, well, who's he going to face? And they put him up against Rick Rude at 90, SummerSlam, and it's like, but I've already beat him. Beat him last year at SummerSlam for a different title. And that was like his first feud out of the it's just, when you have a dominant champion in a dominant era, the transition sometimes to the new guy can be a little hairy. And I think that's kind of what Cody dealt with. But I feel like he dealt with it well. And, he'll get the title back, and I think we'll be off to Merry Land again. And not be sitting here all doom and gloom of just like, why is he champion again? I thought we got rid of him 10 years ago. Why?
That is how I felt the last, 3 months, 2 months? I don't even know. But yeah,
it's
basically
like a century.
It really has. It has already. I don't even remember what it was. April? So it's been like not even 2 months? Jesus Christ. Kill me now. That's how long this championship reign has felt already.
I know. It's just like, this has gone on for too long. He's only had one title defense. I don't care. It's gone on too long.
Should have been two.
At least we have the 2 Money in the Bank matches to kind of cleanse our palate of John Cena in a championship match, again, in a tag team match, still as world champion. But the first of the two matches we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the women's. Alexa Bliss, Roxanne Perez, Rhea Ripley, Julia, Naomi, and Stephanie Vaquero, who just debuted.
She's pulling a doubleheader because she's doing the Worlds Collide as well.
Yes. Luckily for her, this is the second match tonight, and not the first, where it's like, oh, God. Because I can imagine doing the ladder match first and then having to go do that tag match. It's like, you just go up to your partner, you're just like, I'm not doing shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll come in for the comeback. That's it. My ribs hurt. Especially doing the doubleheader in a match like this, because it's just like, anything can happen. You're dealing with a ladder with spots that could be dangerous, especially some of the talent in this matchup that don't mind taking risks.
Well, let's be. Three of them have never been in Money in the Bank before either. Just talk about that. Roxanne,
no.
Julia, Stephanie Vaquero, none of them.
Literally
have been
the
in Money in the
three
Bank.
main roster rookies right now for women.
Yeah.
And it's just like, hey guys, you're going to be in a fucking Money in the Bank match. Great.
It's wild to me that they booked it this way. I don't hate it, but it's just surprising.
Yeah, I am rather surprised that they wanted to go this route. Mind you, again, none of them are really losing. It's a ladder match. So it's not like that you're sacrificing them losing a match, because it's a ladder match. They're really not losing. Somebody's just climbing up the ladder and retrieving a briefcase. They're not pinning anybody. They're not making anybody submit. It's a ladder match. So there's that part of it that it's just, you have that out where you put these three in the matchup, and it's really not going to sacrifice any of them. If anything, it's going to be able to put them on a big stage. You're putting them in a matchup that they're probably going to be able to get some highlights under the belt. And also, again, put everybody at the forefront on a major show, because again, this is the last Money in the Bank that is going to be taking place before SummerSlam. After this year, which has already been decided, it's going to happen after SummerSlam next year in New Orleans. Money in the Bank will, which is now going to be, that's going to add more intrigue to the event. Because now it's after SummerSlam. So you can now wait. Somebody could close to wait for a year and actually cash in at SummerSlam now, making that a major thing. But then there's also the factor of now that can tighten up WrestleMania factors, or WrestleMania season for that matter. Like, it's going to add a lot more intrigue. Even though the way that this match is kind of set up, there's a lot of intrigue into it, because other than the three that we have spoken about, which is the three kids, so to speak, I really only want Alexa Bliss to win. Maybe Naomi. I don't want Rhea Ripley to win it because I don't think she fucking needs it.
I feel like the only way, or I shouldn't say way, but reason to give it to Rhea would be just another notch on the belt. Like, hey, you won Money in the Bank as well. You've won the Royal Rumble.
Stupid.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying that's to me the only real reason to give it to her. I just, Alexa, I wouldn't hate it. And of course, my Alexa just went off. I'm not quite sure. I'll help you. Naomi, I wouldn't hate it. Stephanie Vaquero, you already got a rocket ship in her ass, or on her ass. Just
in her ass.
I'm thinking out loud. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
I just, I wouldn't hate it, but I feel like you've already pushed her to the moon. Just do we really need to do it more? Roxanne Perez, I don't know. Not right now. I feel like in a year or two I wouldn't hate that, but I feel like right now, not really. Julia's also a very phenomenal talent, but you just took the belt off her to give it to Stephanie Vicaire, who then dropped it herself. I feel like it's a little bit too soon.
Roxanne
for her as well.
winning at Oxshow, I think, would be kind of funny because then it would add more intrigue to this Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio type relationship.
You're not wrong.
I did it just like Liv did. And, there's that factor into it. So seeing Roxanne win it, like, I would be fine with either one of those three winning it. And at least in the main, the only one that I'm kind of really against is Rhea. Because I feel like Rhea doesn't need it. Rhea is always going to be in the title picture. Alexa kind of needs that boost because she's had this layoff for the last couple of years. And you finally need to fucking do something with her. So give her the Money in the Bank. Or Naomi, because Naomi's done excellent heel work. And she had to sacrifice something with the Jade Cargill stuff, because it's just like, I know I could sell merch with my whole gimmick because it's a fun gimmick, but now I got to go to so there's that part of it. But so I would be fine with any of the five except Rhea.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I just feel like Stephanie and Julia just not yet for me. And it's not to take away anything from any of the women in this match. I think they're all great talent. I just think for those two, it's a little bit too soon. You literally just called them up. Roxanne, yeah, you just called her up too, but she's been around in NXT for quite a while. I wouldn't hate it. You've pushed her a lot too, obviously, so this is fine. Naomi and Alexa, I'm okay with that. I don't hate it. I'm just not sure which one I'd prefer. Probably Alexa, but I just feel like there's better reasons there to give it to her. And then there's Rhea, and listen, I love Rhea as a talent. I think she's phenomenal, but like you said, she just doesn't need it.
She doesn't need this. Alexa needs it. Naomi might need this. And the other three, I could consider giving it to them just because of the fact of you need something to kind of inject a little bit more blood into the gimmick of the Money in the Bank of where anything can happen. Where it's like minute you're on,
I'll say it this way, right? Because I do want to bring a positive to this. You could give it to Stephanie Vicaire and have her challenge Io. Because they had a great match on Raw that night.
Yes.
I would love to see that again.
Yeah. I mean, that's all in all possible. But I don't know. My head's telling me that they're going to give it to Rhea because, of course, they will.
That's what my head says too.
But
my heart, it's like I'd rather anybody else, and it's nothing against Rhea.
I'm growing tired of Rhea. That's my problem. Like, I'm just growing tired of just the whole.
I keep saying this. They need legit storylines for sometimes. Some of these guys.
They need something
girls.
for her, and it's just.
I want Rhea to go back to being a heel. I'm just going to say it out loud.
That too, but also, I don't know. My problem with Rhea Ripley is, and because she made that tweet a few weeks ago, which was she was 100% right about the female talent and the fans that are against it and the double talk that a lot of them have, and I get that, and I realize that. But also, too, you hurt your image too when you're posting like thirst traps all the time.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's kind because you want to be like, I want to be taken seriously. I want everybody, I wanted women to be taken seriously. Okay, I get that. I respect that. You should be. It should be an equal playing field. You guys are just as important as the men, if not more important than the men now. But do you really need to post that picture right there?
or
I get
or
it. You're
giving
proud of yourself.
other women the stink face.
Yeah,
and
it's just
all that. Yeah, I get it.
It was the criticism that Becky made, which I know people got on Becky, and I was just like, no, Becky's kind of right.
No, Becky had a
'Cause
point. You know,
she
the
did,
thing
because
is,
she was-
Becky's telling the truth, and people don't want to listen to her for that situation specifically.
Yeah,
Obviously,
because again, we're in a male-oriented kind of market, and also too, these fans are getting just complete they're just, especially too with Roxanne Perez now having to deal with a stalker.
yeah, and apparently
Morgan
there
having
were
to deal with a
arrests
stalker.
at NXT on Tuesday because of a stalker.
It's just, you guys got to calm down.
I feel
You
like we're
gotta
saying
calm
that every
down.
week at this point. It's sad.
Because every
It's
week
really
they're just,
sad.
it's getting worse. Like Saraya a few weeks ago, somebody tried to kiss her on the lips. It's like, whoa. And then it's just like all of a sudden with this stuff, it's like, come on, guys.
You know what just popped into my head when you said
What?
that? This is the Family Guy episode where Quagmire is at a bar or whatever. He's talking to somebody, and then he hears the voice, and he goes, "Whoa, transvestite, back off!"
But it's hard with me to get excited and be like, oh, Rhea, yeah, because it's like, I know you're hot. I know that you're hot. But also at the same time, you want to be respected. You want to go down as one of the greats. You also don't want to be like Charlotte. That's why you changed your look. When people were making the comparison, you didn't want to be Charlotte. Charlotte does those pictures all the time. All the surgeries, too, that she's had done because she's been concerned about her appearance. Not saying you are, because you're not going through the beauty regimens or the face surgeries and all that stuff that she's dealt with. You're not doing that.
Please don't, by the way.
Please don't. You don't need to. But it doesn't help your cause when you're posting this stuff up online because, yeah.
I mean,
Men are
listen,
gross.
I'm not gonna say anything. You know, for me, it's you want to post something, go ahead and post it. You know, I get that there's a double standard at times for females with that stuff, and listen, it unfortunately does attract negative attention at times. I'm not gonna ever tell somebody to not post something if they want to post it.
I'm not trying to do that. All I was saying was that.
No,
you're
I know
hurting
you're
my
not.
cause.
I know you're not saying anything. I just, you know, for me personally, that's how I feel. But that's the but is I do understand that there is that other side of things at times where, you know, there is that public perception versus public persona, right? Where the perception of you posting something like that is going to be viewed in a certain way. So I get it. I think it's unfortunate that is the case, is kind of what I'm saying. But for this match specifically, I love Rhea. It's probably going to be Rhea, but
Doesn't need to be real.
it doesn't need to be Rhea. Yeah.
No,
It's the best
it
way to
doesn't.
say it.
It doesn't need to be Rhea. You can reestablish this tired kind of gimmick that I think a lot of people have had fatigue over the years. You know, last year you did it right. You did it right last year. I'll give you that. With Tiffany. But this year, you know, you got a chance. Maybe let's have one of the young guns take it. You know, let's kind of shock everybody. But I feel like it's like we're just going to give it to an established name again. Okay, fine.
You know what, man? Like, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but it really is the truth at this point. Some of the talent needs a break. Cody taking 6 weeks off was perfect because of the way you brought him back. When Rhea got hurt, it was the perfect way to bring her back. And I'm not trying to sit here and say that like talent needs to be injured to take a break, but maybe like realize that some of your talent sometimes does need a break.
But Drew McIntyre, he just took some time off.
But I don't mean it just from the perspective of they need time off. I'm also saying it from the perspective of look at your returns and what they've done, right? Give the talent a little bit of a refresh and give them that break. And if it's 2 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever, sometimes that's a perfect refresh. And you can still have them in dark matches because you've definitely done that in the past. You can have them on some of these other, live events, which I know is dwindling anyways, but still. But otherwise, keep them off television and give them a refresh. Or, like I said, just pay them, tell them to fuck off for a couple weeks. Honestly, Rhea Ripley at this point would benefit from that.
I agree 100%. I think she needs some time off. And I get it, though, with, big star. Yeah, well, you got like fucking 15 others.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've got how many top talents that you could rely on? You're good. Don't worry.
So that brings us to the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, which features Solo Sikoa, LA Knight, Penta, Seth Rollins, Andrade, and El Grande Americano, who defeated AJ Styles and CM Punk in a triple threat match on Raw this past Monday night. And you would think the world ended the way that online. And I'm just like, how many fucking years have I been hearing, we need to get Chad Gable over? Chad Gable needs a top program. They need to put, okay, fine.
Apparently not when it's against CM Punk and Seth Rollins.
Finally did it. He can't beat the guy that I like. Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's the problem. It's so subjective. It really
Every
is.
time.
I laughed. That was my reaction. I just laughed. I'm like, good for you.
Yeah. Hey, he enjoys the gimmick.
As he should, because he can have fun.
Conan on the podcast, the one he does with Disco Inferno, even said he doesn't find it offensive. So
it's not offensive. It's hilarious.
Because it's not offensive.
Hilarious.
It's a goddamn parody.
Exactly, and everybody knows it's him.
Everybody knows it's him. The fucking parody.
If it was something like I remember when they kind of did this differently, obviously, with the Blue Blazer. Remember that shit?
Yes.
This feels very similar to that, and that's why people find it funny. Oh, who is that masked man? Yeah, I wonder, Jeff. Who is it? You never drew a dime. But at the end of the day, it's funny, and people get it. People understand it's a gimmick. It's not like, Sergeant Slaughter, for Christ's sake, where people are giving him death threats.
Yes.
It's way different now.
Way different.
And honestly, good for Chad.
No, you know what? I'm happy.
I'm sorry. I mean, El Grande Americano.
Yeah, exactly right. He's going to be pulling double duty that night, but everybody's just like, well, no, not really.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, come on. We know what the deal is, but at the same time, and luckily for him too, he's probably just like, oh, thank God the ladder match is second. Like, even though he's going to work with Vikingo, so he's just going to be like, I'm going to get bruised from that because I got to deal with a human cannonball.
I think El Vikingo is a good worker, though. I think
he is. He's a solid worker.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not concerned that he's going to get hurt. I'm sure for him, it's going to be like a night, like a walk in the park. And this is going to be the hard part of this because it's a ladder match with 5 other talents that, again, we have some established names in this. Seth Rollins doesn't need this at all. But I feel like the Seth Rollins is probably going to win this. And I hate it. Because he doesn't need this.
I don't think he's going to win it.
You don't think he's going to win it?
Nope.
Too many variables?
Yes.
Same thing I look with Solo Sikoa. Everybody's just like, oh, it's going to be Solo or Seth. It's like, no, they got too many outstanding factors.
I don't even think it's just that. I big rumor is that there's going to be a lot of run-ins in this match,
Okay.
and that one of them might be Roman Reigns.
Oh, that makes sense.
I don't know if these are confirmed, obviously, but I hear like the chatter that in some of these places that, because the other option is, Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes then run out, which I don't think they will because they're in that other match, so I doubt that's a possibility. The other one is CM Punk, Sami Zayn instead, especially with what's going on lately with Seth Rollins, and then obviously that's going to draw out, the rest, because Paul Heyman, I would not be surprised if he's at ringside. So I don't know, like there's a lot of variables just in the amount of run-ins that could also occur in this match. But I don't think he's I don't think he's the right choice here.
I don't think he is either. Again, because he's established, it's like he doesn't need it. It's like he can challenge for a championship whenever he wants because of name value alone. He doesn't need the money in the bank briefcase to be able to just do it anytime he wants. He's Seth goddamn Rollins.
I mean, listen, like last year we also got it where it's Damian Priest, or 2 years ago, whatever, where it was Damian Priest who had it for quite a while before he cashed in on Drew McIntyre.
Yes.
But the whole thing is that I kind of, this is why I'm saying it, right? Like Damian Priest was in a faction. Seth Rollins is in a faction now. I don't need that 2 years in a row where the leader or quasi-leader of a faction is the money in the bank. I don't want that. I want something different. So here's part of the problem, right? Like every one of these guys have had a story in one way, shape, or form with another, except fucking Andrade.
I know.
Like, he could be a dark horse in this match, too.
I feel like I feel like LA Knight might.
He's a solid choice, too, man.
He is a very solid choice. I just feel like he's probably the one that also probably has the least amount going on.
I think that's Andrade.
Yeah, that's true. But Andrade too, they can. I don't know if they're going to go with Andrade, especially now with the AAA acquisition, because I don't know if they're going to move him around or whatnot.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would really like LA Knight to win it, just because LA Knight is world champion sounds nice. And two,
I mean, listen, he tagged Cena in the past. It would make for a decent story.
It would. It would. I think that him as champion would be a really fun kind of run, even if it's for a short while, because it's like, I don't want to give up on the LA Knight experiment. And I don't want to give up on him either and say, hey, I don't think it's a lost cause. I don't think it is. Like, I don't think it is either.
Cause. I just think that he got incredibly unlucky with the surge of talent that has come back to the company or that has
100%.
Stayed with the company.
100%.
That's not on him. That's not on him at all. And listen, he's still been in those, American or United States Championship matches over the last several months. So, I mean, I can't take anything away from him. He just got very unlucky with the amount of talent that WWE either had already that stayed with the company or that they've re-signed. Chief among them, I'm going to say, is Cody Rhodes, because that was around the same time. Granted, they were on different shows, and LA Knight was able to benefit from that. But then they re-signed guys like CM Punk. They moved Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest both to SmackDown. Like, that's not on him.
No.
I think the experiment is 100% worth it. The only issue is they need to act now. Because he's not getting any younger.
He's not. And I feel like, too, it's just... There's really nobody else in this match that I'm excited about except LA Knight. I'm going to be quite honest. Like, Penta's there. Penta's great. I don't know yet if I feel like Andrade and Penta, they're going to cancel each other out because of the AAA factor and just other stuff going on. Possibly, right. Too, the same thing with El Grande Americano. Because
so hold on a second. Here's my third option outside of Seth Rollins and LA Knight. It's him. Because at the end of the night, if you have him grab that and then he unmasks himself and it's Chad Gable, I think that is the perfect way to kill it right there.
I do too. I feel like that him kind of, and plus two with his affiliations with other groups, there's other, but again, also that adds that faction factor too. You don't want another guy with like a faction.
You're right. You're right, but I mean, if he ends up going solo, which I would not be surprised if he won Money in the Bank, he goes solo, then I wouldn't hate it. You're right about the faction factor. I don't know. He fucking deserves it.
Does LA Knight?
He does too, 100%. They both do.
And it's like, I'm looking at this and I just think, just give it to him. Just do it. It's like, this is not everything that LA Knight has done. If you're giving Jey Uso the World Heavyweight Championship and Jey Uso, you have seen not kind of handle the role well as either a main event talent or be at least being on his own, where it's like everything you've done with LA Knight handed to him, even Max Dupree. Yeah, the gimmick was shit, but he gave it his all. Everything that this guy you have given him, he's excelled at. He got this LA Knight thing over. And yeah, that was a risky name too, because it's just like, the fuck is an LA Knight? But he pulled it off.
He now is also heavily, heavily featured in numerous Slim Jim commercials.
Especially now with the table deal. How hilarious is that?
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
This Table Crunch is brought to you by Slim Jim.
Yep.
Hey, look, if you can get the cash, take it. What am I, like, I'm not going to hate
No, I'm not saying anything at all about that. But my point is, for me, it's even more incentive to put it on LA Knight.
Yes.
He already has that notoriety from the commercials, from his previous career in other promotions, and now as United States champion, and hopefully as Money in the Bank winner, and hopefully as world champion. Hey, maybe he'll take it off Jey Uso.
Maybe. I don't want to see, and it'd be nice for a babyface to win the goddamn thing. Like, because I always feel like the last couple of years, too, it's been almost like a heel outlet on the men's side. Because you had Damian Priest and then, Drew McIntyre. So it's back-to-back heels winning it in 2023 and 2024. And now it's like, I don't know. I feel like you've done everything with LA Knight you possibly could on the mid-card. And I think he's excelled at the mid-card. I feel like it's time. Just give him the damn thing. Let him get a run with a title. And have another top star. Like, have another, the mega star, so to speak. I just want it to happen.
I think he needs to go to Raw if he's going to win.
I agree. No, Raw, I feel like, is the best option for him. the World Heavyweight Championship. I think he'd look great in it. I think that, again, he's going to be able to get you so much merch.
You have automatic feuds with the heels on Raw, and he's also got a dynamic where he's going to rub people the wrong way, kind of like CM Punk, which, not for nothing, would also be a phenomenal match as well.
That would be a good feud. You know, and him with Seth Rollins would be a great feud. There's so many ways you can go down this road.
Exactly.
And hopefully they decide to go with it. I'm going for LA Knight. I don't know if he's my heart's going for LA Knight.
Your head is kind of saying Seth Rollins still.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you, man. I'm in the same boat. I want LA Knight to win it. I think he not only has he earned it, but I think he honestly deserves it. And it would make the most sense. But storyline wise right now, especially if you're watching Raw, makes the most sense for it to be Seth Rollins.
The two people that are going to win this thing probably this weekend are the two people that really don't fucking need it. And that's what the Money in the Bank, in my opinion, should be. It should be for people that need a boost. Either, you know, their trajectory the last couple of years has been...
Listen, we said the same thing about the
separated.
Rumble. We said the same thing about the Rumble.
Exactly.
And
Jey Uso winning the Rumble, I was not against it because he needed it.
No. But Charlotte Flair definitely...
Charlotte did not need it.
Complete opposite.
Did not need it. And that turned out to be a waste. A fucking waste. And I hate wasting gimmicks like this because this is a chance for a launching pad. Which again, giving it to any of the three young guns in the women's match makes sense. Because this is a great way to kind of springboard them to the top almost immediately. Worked with Tiffany Stratton last year. But the thing about it is that, because Stephanie McCure right now is fucking money and over.
You know what, though? With Alexa Bliss, and my machine did not go off. I'm surprised. With Bliss, though, you have a great feud that you could have with Tiffany, too.
Exactly.
Because
Alexa Bliss winning it makes sense, too. Sorry.
Right. No, but at the end of the day, like, Tiffany had that line a couple weeks ago about vintage. And we don't know what Miss Bliss and Charlotte Flair have been talking about either. But you could do something there. You could do something really special there. I wouldn't hate that either. But you're right, Stephanie McCare, it's like she's got that rocket ship that she's on right now, and it makes sense there too.
Giving her the Money in the Bank, but also, and then will somebody be like, well, Alexa doesn't need it. Alexa kind of needs it. Alexa kind of needs it because she's been off for 2 years.
That's the problem.
And she hasn't had a world championship
in
many years.
Exactly.
Where I look at Seth Rollins, it's like, you were champion last year.
Yep.
You don't need this. And also you had a WrestleMania main event last year. Like you were main event this year. Like you've had your matches, your top, and like you're at the top of the card. Where I look at Alexa, it's like she's trying to get herself situated again. I kind of want to Alexa to go back to the Mean Girl character instead of this.
Yeah, me too.
Quasi, am I a part of the Wyatt Six? Because
we're just friends.
Yeah, whatever. I'm just thinking about like the Wyatt Six and just like, why even comment? But no.
I mean, they're
Alexa
not doing anything right now
sense.
anyways. I don't
exactly.
Nothing to talk
That's
about.
Why it's just like why comment?
They've come back and they've attacked twice. Okay, cool. Like, all
right.
Tell me when they're doing something.
Show me the Carfax. I don't know what you want me to
Show
tell
me the
you.
Carfax.
Like Jesus.
Nice.
God. Like
Yeah.
hey. It's like I have to just throw those lines out there sometimes. It's just like, just show it to me. Just where is this? But
I mean, just show me when you're doing something. That's the thing. That's
all
what
I
it is
know
for me.
is that no matter what they do this weekend, people are going to be mad. No matter what. It's like, I can agree with their decision. It's like, Seth Rollins didn't win. Perfect. And then somebody gets pissed and it's just like, oh, God. Like, angry react. So it's going to be fun for that kind of.
I'm not going to be
back
mad.
and forth.
I'm not going to be mad at any of it. I think, if we just go back to it, we both think Becky's going to win. We both think Cody and Jay are going to win. We both really don't care about the women's match outside of it shouldn't be Rhea. I think we both can make the argument for any of these women, but I think we both want Miss Bliss to win. And I think for the men's Money in the Bank match, we both want LA Knight to win. And in our gut, we feel like for those two matches, it's going to be instead Rhea and Seth, who really don't need it right now.
They really don't. They're really already established names at the top. They've already main evented and been a world champion within the last 18 months to 2 years. And I feel like that automatically kind of disqualifies you for being even considered. There's no shock of Rhea Ripley winning this. There's no shock value of Seth Rollins winning this. It's like you're just having established names that everybody knows about, holding on to something that you could use to propel somebody to the top. Somebody that really fucking needs it. Hopefully that doesn't happen this weekend, but, I've been around this game way too long to know and notice trends and notice and realize sometimes that, this is almost inevitable. And I hope it doesn't go this direction. Because I don't want to have to deal with, again, another kind of Seth. Seth doesn't need it. Rhea doesn't need it. You're trying to establish new talent. Perfect way to do that right now is to have new talent that haven't been world champion before finally get a shot, finally get a run. And so don't go with the established people. Don't go with the people that everybody knows. Why don't you try to get people in there? Again, the three young guns, Alexa Bliss, Naomi, all five. Same thing with the men's. All five other than Seth Rollins. That's the way you got to think. But again, kind of work for them.
I just, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm really curious if they're going to add a match or if they're just going to have an insane amount of run-ins or something. Because only 4 matches where, let's be real. I don't think Cody and Jay and John Cena and Logan Paul are going to get more than 15 minutes. I don't think John can work that long.
Well, no, it's a tag team match. It'll be fine.
Still, I don't see it going long. Lyra and Becky, I'd argue maybe 20 minutes.
Maybe.
And then the Money in the Bank matches,
25 each, probably 30.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm curious. Where's the 5th match?
Who knows? They might announce something again tomorrow. They've done it before. Of course, we did that with Saturday night's main event. We were just like, there's no women's matches booked. Next night, Chelsea Green and Zelina Vega for the U.S. Championship. Oh, okay. They listen to us. Fuck it. All right. And maybe they'll do that this time. I don't know. Again, they're giving us a doubleheader of 2 really quality shows. So I'm happy with that part of it. But at the same time, I'm also concerned because, it's funny because I had to talk to one of the writers today. I had to hit him up because I was like, I know I talked to you about coming on before Mania, but it's like I'm having to do these preview and review shows almost every week. Then I got to get guests on. So I'm sorry that for the last 2 months, if you felt like I've been neglecting it. So hopefully in 2 weeks, we're going to have them on. And we'll start having writers again more often. But again, they understand.
I need less shows to actually preview and review that.
Oh my God.
It's crazy.
Especially too, when it's like, well, you guys are going to review shows. We're going to post them on Facebook. So it's like, well, we have to review the show, I guess. Because it's like cross promotion. We want to be able us to get bigger. We want the show to get bigger. We want Pro Wrestling World on Facebook to get bigger. So we're trying to serve every master possible. So if it's like they want us to be on, they want us to review a show, we're going to review the show. It's simple math, folks. But yeah, we're going to try to get more writers on, probably a once a month type deal. But can they give us a goddamn break with these PLEs? Jeez. It's like I thought yesterday was.
It's not even the fact. It's not even the fact that they're having them often. It's that now we have to spend more time talking about them because it's like consecutive. It's like a couple weeks ago, like we talked about, it was Battleground, it was Saturday Night Main Event, it was Double or Nothing. This week, it's not only is it Worlds Collide, it's also Money in the Bank.
Yes.
In July, we also have another Saturday Night Main Event, and then Evolution.
Yes.
And then is it All In one of those weekends too?
Yes.
Like it's crazy.
All In, and then in July there's All In, Evolution, and then I think there's Great American Bash in the same weekend.
Oh, that's right.
It's the counter programming. I think I said that last week. I said counter programming can be damned, because it's just that we're literally constantly having to watch and review. And then everybody's just like, well, you're watching the weekly shows too? It's like, where do I find the fucking time?
Yeah.
I have a life.
Exactly.
Like, I get it. Like, this is...
I just set everything to record and then I skipped through it.
I know. It's the best way to do it.
I mean, listen, like, if something like catches my eye, like a promo segment or whatever, I'll stop, I'll watch it. If there's a match that I'm interested in, or if a match that I feel like is going to have story implications, I might watch it. But if it's like a throwaway, I'm really just skimming through it.
We don't watch the full shows sometimes, folks. Like, it's literally impossible when we have lives. We can't just sit here and watch 7 or 8 hours of weekly programming every week. And then on top of that, now, and that's just WWE. We're not talking about AEW, which is another 4 to 5. So we're looking at, that's 13 hours a week.
It's not even including all the promotions.
I go to work. I got a job 40 hours a week. I got a fiance to keep happy. I have a life. I love wrestling, but I can't commit every waking hour to the industry. And there's a lot of people out there that would probably be like, Dan, come on, you've done it before. It's like, yeah, I have, but it's like, it's different now. It's like I'm an adult, and
it's also we're not invested anymore. We're not as invested anymore either.
I mean, I'm still invested.
Let's be real. No, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm still invested to the extent of, I know the talent. I know the top talent. I watch plenty of it. You know, I'm probably going to start going to more indie shows. So I get it from that part of it. It's like, I'm still all into this industry, but at the same time, it's like, again, it's hard when I got to sit around and and watch the 12 hours a week. I can't do it. Can't do it, guys.
No,
I'm going to be excited for the show because I'm going to definitely check out both. I'm sorry I cut you off.
No, go ahead.
But I'm definitely excited for both. I have high hopes, at least for both Money in the Bank ladder matches, but my head is telling me something differently. And that's the unfortunate part about it, because it's like, I really don't want the established names to win it, because they really don't need it. But I think other than that, I think the quality of the show is going to be really good. And hopefully I don't get too mad at the booking decisions. Like, I guess if one of them turns out differently than I think it's going to, I guess that's a win. But I kind of want both to go
A certain
opposite
way.
of the way I think they're going to go.
But you want them to go a certain way. You think they're going to go the completely other way that we both feel that they're going to go.
Yep.
It sucks. Like, I don't want that style of booking decision to be prevalent here. I think they should book it how we kind of mentioned it before with all of the matches, not just the Money in the Bank matches, but all of them. But I'm getting that pit in my stomach that's telling me it's probably not going to go down the way I want it to.
No, it's probably not. And it sucks, but it is what it is. If I get one that doesn't go the way I think it is, I'll be happy. If it both go differently than I think it is going to, then I'm going to be elated. But of course, we're still going to, that's the thing about this industry sometimes too, is whatever makes you happy, 40 other people are pissed. Like, it's the lay of the land for the wrestling industry now.
I thought of this the other day and it finally just popped in my head now. You know what it is about Rhea that I feel like they're going to book her for this is, you know how they did like Tiffy in the Bank and all that other stuff, and like Damian Priest was Senora Money in the Bank. Rhea Ripley's going to be Mommy in the Bank. I feel it coming. Yeah, I don't like it either. Trust me.
Cringe.
I agree.
So cringe.
I agree, but that's what they're going to do.
Terrible.
I don't disagree. But you know they're going to do it.
On behalf of Mac and myself, here I'm not going to answer that question because I know it's probably going to happen. And it's just the
you already answered the question then at that point.
Yeah,
so
exactly. I answered it for you by not answering it directly.
I agree.
On behalf of myself and Mac, I want to thank everybody here for listening or watching Pro Wrestling World Talks on YouTube, on Diamond Podcasting Productions, or on Spotify under PWW Talks. And of course, we're on Apple, we're on Audacity, anywhere you can get your podcast, we're on it. And for the review, we will be on Facebook again next week on the Pro Wrestling World page. So be sure to follow that. The Pro Wrestling World on Facebook. Please like them, follow them, so that way you'll be able to see us more when we're doing reviews for pro wrestling. So again, I hope everybody enjoys the weekend. It's finally starting to warm up here in this area.
Yeah, it's finally summer.
90 degrees today it hit. So I'm wondering, let me look at I have to look at the weather because of how things have gone lately. Either to laugh at it or not. Today was 90. Tomorrow is going to be 78. Still pretty warm. And then Saturday is going to be rainy and a high of 68. Are you fucking kidding me again? Rain again on Saturday?
Welcome to the Northeast, my friend.
Jeez, I know. But hopefully the rain will not wash away our fears of how bad the booking decisions might be at Money in the Bank. I have high hopes, hopefully, that this thing is going to go. Yes, hopefully that is what we're going to be hearing on the men's side of things. LA Night in the Bank, that's kind of what I'm rooting for. And on the women's side, anybody but Rhea. Yeah. So everybody, have a great night. Have a great weekend. And we'll be back next week to review Money in the Bank and Worlds Collide. Good night, everybody.